Welcome back to Narayana College online classes. Last class we have discussed software concepts, a new chapter. Just I'll brief out what I have discussed in last class. Software, in that we have seen computer system comprises of three components. That is, one which is hardware, software and users. In a hardware we have seen the physical devices which are being interconnected in order to store and execute the programs. In software we have studied it is a set of programs or a related data. It instructs the computer what to do and how to do it. In that we have seen there are two types of software. One is system software and another one is application software. In system software we have gone through the difference between system software and application software. System software is nothing but it controls the hardware devices and gives a path to a software. Whereas application software, it is nothing but it's going to run or it's going to execute based on a specific task, that is user requirement task. And we have seen the differences between your system software and application software. Now again, a system software is being broadly classified into three types. One it is operating system, second one is language translator, third one is your utilities. So last class we have discussed what is operating systems. Operating systems is nothing but it is an interface between the user and the computer. And the operating system plays an important role, that is in order to execute, in order to improve the performance of your computer, in order to solve all the problems, and it also supervises the or monitor the program execution, since it's a part of the operating system resides in a main memory. So all such things we have discussed in your last class. Before going to a language translator, first we will see what is computer language. So the next second one broadly classified of your system software is nothing but your the language translator. Before going to a language translator, we will see what is computer language. What is a language? Language is nothing but a medium of communication. Language is nothing but a medium of communication. So this language is nothing but medium of communication. So when you want to communicate with a computer or a system, you need a language. Such a language we call it as a programming language. Or it is also called as computer language. See, once again I am telling, a language is nothing but it's a medium of, if you speak in some language, it's nothing but a conversation or it's a medium of communication between the others or two persons. So language is nothing but a medium of communication. When you want to communicate with a system or a computer, you need a language that the system can understandable. Such a language we call it as the programming language or computer language. With this programming language, you can instruct the computer what to be performed. So here, computer language is being classified into two types. One it is low level language. Second one it is high level language. High level programming language. Here, your programming language or computer language is being classified into two types. One is low level programming language, second one is high level programming language. Your low level programming language is being classified into two types. First one is mission language. Second one is assembly language. Here, your high level programming language is being classified into two types. One it is general purpose high level language. Second one is specific purpose high level language. So here again your general purpose high level programming language is being classified into one it is first one it is we call it as the general purpose high level language is being classified into, that is it makes use of basic Pascal your C languages. classified into or broadly categorized into, that is your COBOL, Fortran. Next your C++. So your COBOL is used for specific for what is that business application. Your Fortran used for scientific application. And your C++ is your object oriented programming. See, once again I am explaining you. See here, what is a computer language? Again, it's nothing but a language which is language is nothing but medium of communication. If you want to communicate with a system, you need a language that is understandable by a computer. Such a language we call it as the programming language or computer language. Your computer language is being classified broadly into two types. First one is low-level programming language, high-level programming language. In your low-level programming language, there are two types of low-level programming: mission language and your assembly language. In your high-level programming language is broadly classified into two types: general purpose high-level programming language, specific purpose high-level programming language. In your general purpose, you are going to see what are the high-level programming language. In your general purpose is basic, Pascal, C languages. In your specific purpose high-level programming language, you have COBOL. COBOL is specific for business applications. Fortran for specific for scientific application. Your C++ is specific for object-oriented programming language. So these are the classification of all two types of language how it is being broadly classified. Let's see what is low-level programming language. Under that we'll see mission-level language. See here, computer language is being broadly classified into two types. One is low-level language, another one is high-level programming language. In low-level language, we have mission-level language. Here in this mission-level language, it is one of the language that the system can understand. It is one of the system language. That is in a mission, this is one of the system language. It is one of the system language, or you can say system understandable language. Okay, this is mission level language. It is one of the system language. You can, in other words, you can say it is one of the system understandable language. Here, in a mission level language, everything in the form of sequences of zeros and ones. It is in the form of zeros and ones, and it is internally stored in your it is internally stored in a system. Stored in system, that is in your RAM, as voltage levels, that is high or low, or 0, that is 1 or 0. See, once again I am telling you, your mission level language is one of the system language, and in a mission level language everything is in the form of zeros and ones. So now you write your programming in the form of zeros and ones. Each bit you are going to represent everything in the form of zeros and ones. As you know, the computer can understand your binary digits or binary numbers, everything in the form of zeros and ones. So this language is written in the form of zeros and ones. So the name it is system language. It is one of the system language. Here the zeros and ones are stored internally, that is in your RAM, in the form of voltage levels. That is high voltage, low voltage. High means 1, low means 0. And here in the system language, what it tells is, in a system language, it is very difficult, a programmer, it's very difficult if it comes of large sequences of zeros and ones. In order to program large sequences of complex problems, in such a case, it is very hard or difficult to remember zeros and ones. Or a programmer should know that is acquire a knowledge, that is the internal architecture of a computer. That was one of the drawback in your system language, or you can say mission level language. What are the advantages of your mission level language means? Okay, here what is the advantages of mission level language means? No translation is required or no compilation is required. Since everything is in the form of zeros and ones, you can directly type and execute it. So that was the one of the advantages of your system, that is your mission level language. So here no translation or no compiler, each and every sequence of bits and bytes can be typed and executed directly. That was the advantages of your mission level language. When you go across the disadvantages of mission level language, so what is this disadvantage means? If you want to, in order to program this mission level language, it is very difficult. The programming to write a mission level language, it is difficult. Okay. Next, next is what it means. Next, in order to, if you want to modify anything, it finds very difficult. And even to debug the errors, to find out the errors, correct the errors. In order to find out the errors, debugging the errors is also very difficult. Another disadvantage is it is mission dependent. It is mission dependent. So it is not portable. It is mission low level language. That is a mission level language is mission dependent. And since it is mission dependent, the programmer has to know the internal architecture of the system. The programmer finds it very difficult in order to understand the internal architecture of the system. And remembering the large sequences of zeros and ones also is very difficult. Remembering a programmer feels very difficult in order to remember. Remembering is very difficult in the sequence of zeros and ones of large complex problem. See here, I am telling you once again. See, advantage means no translation is required, and it is you can directly type and execute the program. That is the advantages of your mission level language. When you go for disadvantage, it is very difficult to program. If you want to, I want to program a simple program, okay. If you want to program a complex or a little wider program, the programmer should remember for each and every instruction you have to remember the sequences of zeros and ones. That is very difficult to program, and even if it is difficult to modify, and even if it is very difficult to debug the errors, find out the errors. Apart from that, it is mission dependent. So once it is mission dependent, the programmer has to know the internal structure of your, that is, we have to remember the internal structure of your system. If it is large program or large sequences of zeros and ones, it is very difficult to remember for a programmer. One of the example of your mission level language, that is to add two numbers. So this is the sequences of your zeros and ones. So here first, that is MSB. This is the MSB 4-bit. Your most significant bit, 4-bit. In each line, it represents your opcode. Opcode is nothing but operation code. Opcode. What operation should be performed? Here 001, it tells the load the data. And your lower 8-bit, this is your LSB. Your lower 8-bit represents the operands. Okay, represents the operands. That operand is denoting the address where that operand is being presented. So, in order to remember for load, you have to remember the code as 001. For add 0100. For store, the storing, the operation is that is 000. To stop, it is 00. So the first 4-bit represents the operation code. The lowest 8-bit represents the operand where that operand is being stored in your memory, that is in your RAM. In order to remember such kind of sequences of zeros and ones, we have a drawback in your mission level language. So to overcome this drawback, we go on to our next language in your low level language is assembly level language. So next we'll see what is assembly level. So the next low level programming language is assembly level language or assembly language. What is this assembly language means? In order to overcome the difficulties faced in your mission level language, in order to overcome such problems, whatever difficulties occurred in your mission level language, for that we referred a language called as the assembly language. In this we have used symbolic instructions. Use the symbolic instruction. This symbolic instruction we call it as assembly language. In a symbolic, instead of remembering large sequences of zeros and ones, here we have used symbolic codes. Here we have used symbolic codes. These codes, symbolic codes are called mnemonics. These are called as the mnemonic codes. So here assembly language in order to overcome the difficulties faced in your mission level language, that is remembering large sequences of zeros and ones. In order to overcome the difficulties, we went to a symbolic instruction. Such an instruction we called as the assembly language. This symbolic instruction we called as the symbolic codes, that is nothing but your mnemonics. In this symbolic codes, it's like English-like statement or English-like word. Here you are going to represent like for example, for add, you are using the assembly language add for adding the values. SUB means for subtracting. MUL means to multiply, for multiplying, for multiplication. These are the mnemonic. STA means store the result in accumulator, store the values in accumulator. This accumulator is a register. Okay, in order to store small. Then halt, to end, to halt the program, or to end. See, these are the symbolic codes. That is nothing but mnemonic codes. It's English-like statement where you are going to easily can understand. AADD means to add. That is used for adding two values or two operands. Subtraction, multiplication. SUB, subtraction. MUL, multiplication. STA means to store the values in accumulator. And HALT means which is like a halt the program or end the program. So these are some of the examples how mnemonics can be represented in program. So here these mnemonics are very easy to understand. You can easily understand these mnemonics or symbolic codes. So this is nothing but a assembly language. Here the advantages is, what is this advantages of the assembly language means? You know, it is not, that is you need not to remember large sequence of zeros and ones. Next, here it is easy to modify, debugging, and it is very easy to program. So these are the advantages of your assembly language. In your assembly language, your whatever disadvantage faced in your mission level language, that is, you need not to remember, no need to remember large sequences of zeros and ones, and it is very easy to modify, debug and programming. And what are the disadvantage means? What are the disadvantage means? It is mission dependent. It is mission dependent. Next one, it takes, that is longer the code. It takes the code to, in order to program the assembly language, it takes the longer the code, and you want to convert this assembly language into a mission level language. The system can understand only the form of zeros and ones. So assembly language need a translator. You need a translator to convert to mission language. So you need a compiler or translator to convert into mission level language. So what is this assembly level language? Once again I say assembly level language. In order to overcome the difficulties faced in your mission level language, you go on to assembly level language. Here you use a symbolic instruction. Such an instruction we called as the assembly language. This symbolic instruction, it can be used as symbolic codes in order to represent that English-like statement. This symbolic codes is called as the mnemonics. Mnemonics like add, subtract, multiply, store, alt. What the advantages of the assembly level language means? No need to remember large sequences of zeros and ones. Modifying is very easy. Debugging is easy, and even programming it is very faster. So programming is easier, not faster. Here disadvantage in your assembly level language, it is mission dependent. Since it is mission dependent, it's not portable. It's not portable. Next, the programming code, it takes longer the code. That is, it's slower in coding the program, and it requires a translator to convert it into mission level language. Next, we'll see high level programming language. See students, we have discussed low level languages, that is your mission level language and the assembly level language, and we have seen all the features of your mission level language as well as the assembly level language. So next is your high level programming language. In order to overcome the flaws or what is disadvantage faced in your low level language, that is being solved by a programming language that is nothing but high level language. So the difficulties faced in your low level language, that can be overcome by the language that is nothing but your high level language. Your high level language is a mission independent. Here it is mission independent and it is portable. And here in your high level language you use like a English like language. It is an English like language. So here no need of knowing the representation, that is the architectural, internal architecture of your computer. No need to understand the internal structure of the system. Internal structure of the system or architecture of the system. So here, what it is high level language tells means high level language, in order to it comes to overcome the difficulties faced in your low level language, that is a mission level language and the assembly level language. We go on to a programming language called as high level language. In high level language, it is mission independent and portable, and it is like how this high level language means it's like English like language, it's an English like statement, and here it does not need any understand about the internal structure of the system. Where in your mission level language you have to know the zeros and ones, you have to go into a architecture. In order to it is mission dependent, you have to need the details of your architecture, internal structure of your system. But in high level language, no need of understanding the internal structure or architecture of the system. Some of the high level language like C, C++, Pascal, Cobol, Java, etc. These are some of the high level language. Next we will see what are the advantages of high level language. In advantages of high level language, here that is nothing but it concentrates on program specification. That is nothing but problem. It concentrates on problem specification or program specification. It does not go through the details of your system. That is one of this need not to understand. It concentrates on your program specification or program specification. No need of not oriented on the system details. Next one, it is very easy to debug, modify and program. And here it is independent. Since it is independent, it's an independent, mission independent, and it is portable. See, what are the advantages of high level language means? It is oriented only on the problem specification. No need of to concentrate on the details of your system. Next, it is easy to debug, modify and program. And high level language, since it is mission independent and it is portable. Here, whatever program you have written in high level language, you require a translator or compiler to convert your high level language to mission level language. And what are the disadvantages of your high level languages? That is, what it says means it is lacks in flexibility. What is this lacks in high level programming language? Lacks in flexibility. What is this lacks in flexibility means? The features of high level programming language does not always comes to under the control of a programmer. Why means? Since it is mission independent and it is portable and it requires a suitable compiler to transfer from your high level language to your mission level language, and here it is consuming more time and more space, storage space. So it is less efficient. For this case, it is less efficient. So once again I am telling, your disadvantages of high level language, it is nothing but lacks of flexibility, because it does not, the features what is designed in your high level language does not come under the control of your programmer, and it is consume more time as well as the storage. Since it consumes more time, the execution times or compilation takes, because since it requires language. So it converts more time and more storage. So this leads to less efficient. The performance is being reduced. So these are the disadvantages of your high level language. Once again I am telling, high level language is nothing but it's a programming language which in order to overcome the difficulties of a low level language, go to high level language. Here what it is tells us, it is mission independent language and it is portable and it is a language like English like language and no need to understand the internal, this is also the advantage, no need to understand the architecture of the system. You concentrate only on the problem specification. That is nothing but your high level language. Some of the high level languages is nothing but C, C++, Pascal, COBOL, Java, Fortran, everything come under your high level language. The advantages are problem specification, easy to program, design or debug and modify, and it is independent and portable, mission independent and portable. Disadvantage, lacks in flexibility, consume more time and more storage, so it is less efficient. Next we will see what is language translator. So second category under the system software is language translator. So you are going to perform what is this? You are going to see what is language translator. One category under system software is operating system. Next we have seen what are the computer languages, what is computer language, how many languages exist in a computer. Next we will see language translator. So a language translator is nothing but that is a program written in high level language or assembly language. It should be translated to a machine language. For that you are using a translator. Such a translator we call it as language translator. That is program written in high level language or assembly language is translated into mission language. So a program which is written in high level language or assembly language, it is being translated into mission language. Such a thing we call it as a language translator. During this translation, the translator during this translation, it also checks for the errors. That is, during this translation of translating a high level language or into a mission language or assembly language into a mission language, during this translation taking place, any errors occurs in a program that can be checked in during this particular translation. So here what it tells means, this is my source program. This is my source program. Here I am using a translator. And this is my object program. See here, what I am telling here, this means source program is nothing but your program that is written in a high level language or in a assembly language. That we call as the source program. Whatever the program which is being written in your high level or assembly language, that we call as the source program. That is being given to a translator. Let's see what is three types of translator. That is given to a translator. That translator translates that source program into object program. That is nothing but your mission language. Object program is nothing but your mission language. That a language or code which is understood by the mission program, that we call as the object program. So a source program, it can be a high level program or assembly level program, that we call as a source program. Using a translator, we are changing into a mission language, that is nothing but your object program. There are three types of translator. First one is assembler, second one is compiler, third one is interpreter. See here, your translator comprises of three types. One it is assembler, second one it is compiler, third one it is interpreter. First we will see what is assembler. Students, once again I will explain. Language translator is nothing but a program you have written in any of the language. We have discussed what is high level language, low level language. A program written in high level language or assembly level language that is being translated into a mission language. Such a language, using a translator, you are going to transfer into a mission language. Such a translator we call high level language or assembly level language, that we call as the source program. Next, using a translator, you are using among these three translators, you are using any one of the translator. The three types of translator are assembler, compiler, interpreter. Using this translator, you are converting a source program to a object program. This object program is nothing but a mission language, or object code or object program is nothing but a mission language which is understandable by your system. So, today's class I wind up till your language translator. Tomorrow's class will discuss what is assembler. Before going to that, today's class what all we have discussed, just will refresh it. First we have seen what is computer language. So language is nothing but medium of communication. In that computer language we have seen two types of language, that is low level language, high level language. In low level language we have two types, that is your mission level language and assembly level language. In your high level language, in your mission level language, which is nothing but a system language. And in your low level language, whatever disadvantage is being faced, that in order to overcome that, you go on to a assembly level language. Again, assembly level language has some of the flaws or disadvantages like mission dependent. So in order to overcome, you need a translator. In order to overcome that, you go on to a high level language. In a high level language is a completely a mission independent and it is a portable language. And it is very English like language or English like statement. And here it is programming, debugging, and even writing a program, modifying it is very easier. And it is also one of the disadvantage of your mission level, sorry, a high level language is nothing but it requires a translation, and more time it takes for compilation or execution, and it takes large amount of memory. In order to overcome, these were the disadvantage faced in your high level language. Since it takes more time and more space, its performance becomes less efficient. The efficiency is being reduced. So till here we have discussed about language, like communication or language or communication language or system language. And next we have gone to a second type of operator, that is under system software is your language translator. First one we have seen operating system, second one is language translator. We have discussed what is language translator, and we have mainly mentioned that language translator like assembler, compiler, interpreter. Next class we will see about the assembler. Today's class I wind up with this particular session. Next class will start with the assembler. Thank you.